Hey guys, welcome back for another video. What we're going to be doing today is we'll be breaking down all of our NBA games we have coming up for February 12th, Wednesday. Today we're going to break down the matchups, look at the teams, look at the rosters, try to predict the outcome, who's going to win, lose, and what the best bets are. The money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. First things first though, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you have any comments. Do you agree? Disagree? Anything at all, drop it below and I will make sure to respond to everyone. We also have our Twitter handle down below. Let's go ahead and get started. We have 15 total matchups. Almost everyone's playing. Let's get started looking at these games. The first one we're going to have on ESPN at 7 p.m. We have the 23 and 28 San Antonio Spurs versus the 38 and 16 Boston Celtics. Right now, the Spurs are 12th in the West. Celtics are second in the East. Celtics heavy favorites at home, 8.5-point favorites. By the ESPN fan vote, right now the Celtics 67.3% chance to win this game. They are at home. The Celtics are 16-10 at home. We know they're going to dominate in the paint. They're going to be led by Jason Tatum, 26.9 points per game. He leads this team in points per game. He leads in rebounds, 8.6. He leads in assists, 5.5. But the Celtics are pretty banged up. They still don't have Holiday. They still don't have Brown. Those guys are not going to be playing this game, but their bench is deep enough. They should be able to control the pace, control the Spurs. Right now, the Spurs, obviously, Wembanyama, he is the leading scorer, 24.4 points per game. He has 11 rebounds per game. They have Chris Paul at 8.1 assists per game. Overall, looking at how these teams are going to match up, you have the Celtics almost with the edge in every single category. 117.2 points per game, 44.9 rebounds per game, 25.8 assists per game, and they have the number 2 overall defense in the NBA, giving up 108.2 points per game. Spurs, they average 113.2. They are giving up 114.4. Celtics should have the edge here. Looks for the Celtics to pull this game out at home, where they usually dominate in Boston. We're going to go with them winning, but it's going to be a closer one. We're going to go with the plus 8.5 here. The next matchup we're going to look at 7 p.m., we have the Charlotte Hornets, 13 and 38, one of the worst teams in the NBA, one of the worst offenses, one of the worst defenses here, versus the 26 and 29 Orlando Magic, who've kind of had a little bit of a slide the last 10 games. I think they're 3 and 7 the last 10 games. They need to get things back on track. They are 9th in the East. They have their chance to still be in line for the playoffs, but they have to make sure they win these games. They are heavy favorites here, 12.5-point favorites, and the fan vote, the Magic have an 89.7% chance to win this game. Everything is in front of them. Charlotte, they're not going to have Ball playing this game. Ball is the leading scorer, 27.9 points a game. Charlotte doesn't have him. You have to make sure to take advantage of this game. Leading the way for the Magic, they have Bridges coming in here, 19.5 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists. As an offense, the Magic, they got to get things going. They're only averaging 104, and they're giving up 105.8. At least they have a solid defense. Charlotte, one of the worst offenses. They average 106.6, but their leading scorer, Ball, is going to be out this game, and they're giving up 112 per game. There will be opportunities for the Magic to be able to score, but they have to make sure that they play a good, tough game. Look for Bridges to have a massive game here. They are heavy favorites, 12.5-point favorites. They got to get Wagner going. They have to make sure Bridges stays hot this game. Look for them to dominate in the paint and dominate with the midpoint jumpers. We have the Magic winning this one, and we also have them covering the spread as well, even though it's a massive spread. Where the Magic really struggle at is playing teams that are over 500. I think they're 10 and 20 versus teams over 500. They don't have that issue here because the Hornets are really bad this season. Look for the Magic to be able to pull this one out and try to get some things back on track. The next matchup we're looking at, also at 7 p.m., we have the Indiana Pacers coming in here, 29 and 23, playing the Washington Wizards. The Wizards really do struggle at home. They have to win these games at home on their own court. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA this season, and they're having a slide the last 10 games. Right now, they are 9 and 44. They are 9.5-point underdogs here to the Pacers. Pacers, they've been doing a lot of things right the last game. The main thing that stands out to me is they are dominating in the paint. They come into this game 6th in the NBA in most points scored in the paint, 51.7 points per game. That is a massive advantage because you can wear out the other team. It's really hard to be dominating and physical in the paint over 4 quarters. Pacers are going to force the Wizards to have to defend them down there. That's going to wear them out. When you dominate in the paint, that also opens up the midpoint jumper and the 3-point. Right now, the Pacers are going to be led by Siakam. He's the one who's dominating in the paint for them and getting the rebounds. He's averaging 20.8 points a game, 7.3 assists per game. They also have Halliburton, who's having a great season so far. Really good the last 2 to 3 weeks. They're averaging 115.7 points per game. They are giving up 115.3. Defense is a little questionable, but thankfully for them, the Wizards really don't have the offense to be able to take advantage of that. They only average 108.2. One of the worst defenses, if not the worst defense, the last defense in the NBA, giving up 121.8. They do have Jordan Poole, but Jordan Poole can't do everything. He's averaging 20.7 points per game. They have Star, but Poole's going to be their leading guy that they're going to have to go to. But the Pacers should be able to make life pretty difficult for him this game. Look for the Pacers to pull off the win here on the road, and we have them covering the spread. And then our next game at 7:30 p.m., we have the 20-33 Philadelphia 76ers versus the 19-34 Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are going to be at home, but they're going to be the underdogs. 76ers on the road, 2.5-point favorites. This game's a really close spread here. This game is practically a pick'em. Right now, the 76ers on the road, 61.4% chance to win this game, but it's all going to come down to, are we going to see Joel Embiid this game? He is questionable. He was questionable for Tuesday. He's going to be questionable for the game tonight. Obviously, for the 76ers, to make sure they win it, they're going to need their best player on the court. Right now, they're going to be led by Maxey, 27.6 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 6.1 assists. And then you have the Nets led by Johnson, 19.2 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 2.9 assists. These teams are pretty evenly matched, though. Philadelphia, they average 109.4. They're giving up 113.2, which is pretty average. And then for Brooklyn, they're averaging 105.1. They're giving up 111.3. It's all going to come down to who's going to have the healthier team on the court. Right now, you have the 76ers. 61.4% chance to win this game. It's going to be Maxey. It is going to be Johnson. Who's going to have the bigger game? This game is practically a pick'em. I'm going to go with the Nets. The Nets are at home. I have them winning this one in a close one, and we're going to go with the +2.5. Then our next game at 7:30 p.m., we have the Atlanta Hawks, 26-28, still competing, trying to fight their way back into a playoff spot. They'll be playing the 35-18 New York Knicks, one of the best teams in the NBA, one of the more rounded teams in the NBA. Pretty good offense, pretty decent defense. Looking at how this game's going to match up, you have the Knicks. 70.5% chance to win this game. They are the heavy favorites here right now. And the big news for the Hawks is Trae Young is a game-time decision. He's their leading scorer. 23.4 points per game, 3.2 rebounds, 11.4 assists per game. He's their general on the court. He leads this team, distributes the ball. If he doesn't play, that is obviously a massive loss for the Hawks. And then the Knicks, they have Brunson, 25.9 points per game, 2.8 rebounds, 7.5 assists. These teams are pretty evenly statistical, though. The Hawks come in, they're averaging 116.1. They're giving up 118.6. And the Knicks, they average 17.8. Slight edge on offense. They definitely have the edge on defense, only giving up 11.8 points per game. Very rounded team. They can fight you in the paint. They can go for jumpers. They have Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns playing pretty decent the last games. Played really good this past night. If you can get him going, this is going to be a really difficult team to beat in the East. And the Hawks are beat up, so we have to go Knicks to win this one at home, and we have to go with them covering. Our next matchup, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 7:30 p.m. on the road here versus the Toronto Raptors. Right now, the Cavaliers 43-10. This team is leading the way in the East, and the Raptors 17-37 coming out of these. This is going to be a pretty interesting game here. Right now, the Raptors, they're having a difficult time stopping anyone. They can score some points. They are at home, so they do have a chance here to be competitive versus the Cavaliers. But Cavaliers, 14.5-point favorites. One of the most rounded, if not the most rounded team in the NBA. They're scoring 122.5 points per game. They're only giving up 112. They're going to be led by Mitchell, 24 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists. Barrett will be leading the way for the Raptors, 21.6 points per game. They average 110. They're giving up 116.2. Cleveland has the edge in almost every single category. Mitchell Allen. They have the better team. They have their better defense, even though they're on the road. Toronto only has 9 wins versus teams with a winning record. We have Cleveland winning this one, but we're going to go with the plus 14.5. That is a massive spread on the road. And then at 8 p.m., we have 28-26 Detroit Pistons sitting at 6 in the East versus the 22-32 Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls is just trying to get things back on track. They are at home. Detroit, though, 6.5-point favorites. This game's a 50-50, though, fan vote-wise. We have the Pistons, 53.5% chance to win this game. The Bulls, 46.5. Obviously, you have Cunningham leading the way here for the Pistons, 25.3 points per game, shooting at a 44.5% field goal rate. And then you have Nikola, who's a little banged up here for Chicago, but he is averaging 19.1 points a game. Very efficient from the field, 53.5%. Right now for the Pistons, they're averaging 113.3. They're giving up 113.1, so pretty evenly matched there. And then you have Chicago 116.1, giving up to 120.6. Chicago's a little questionable on the defensive side. It's all going to come down to how healthy is Nikola. He's a leading scorer. He's a leading rebound guy. You need him on the field. He is your leader. Detroit has the more rounded team. Cunningham, Duren. Cunningham also with 9.4 assists per game. I have the Pistons winning this one. They are the better, more rounded team. They have the better defense. They have the better offense. They win this one, but it's a close one. They do cover the spread, though. And at 8 p.m., we have the 28-24 Milwaukee Bucks here versus the 30-24 Minnesota Timberwolves. These teams are very evenly matched. Two really good teams coming out of the East. This is going to be a very competitive game, but both of these teams are pretty banged up. So who's going to be able to get the best product on the field, even with the injuries? Right now, the Timberwolves at home, 63.5% chance to win this game. They are going to be led by Edwards, 27.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 4.5 assists. And obviously, Milwaukee, they're going to be led by Giannis, 31.8 points per game, 12.2 rebounds per game, 5.9 assists. But there's no guarantee that he's even going to be on the court this matchup. We have a lot of injuries. Damian Lillard, also listed as questionable. Edwards, out. Connolly out. So we don't really know the full product that we're going to see on the field. Both teams are banged up, but who's going to be able to get the most efficient performance out of your bench? Right now, for the Bucks, they average 114.5 points per game. They're giving up 113.1. Minnesota, they average 111.6. They're giving up 108.3. This game is going to be difficult. It's going to be a close one here. Minnesota 6.5-point favorites, but we're going to go with Minnesota to get the win at home, and we also have them covering the spread. But this game's a toss-up due to the injuries to both teams. At 8 p.m., we have the Sacramento Kings, 27-26, versus the 12-41 New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans, one of the worst teams in the NBA. They are underdogs here at home, 5.5-point underdogs. You have the Sacramento Kings. They're going to be led by DeRozan, Sabonis. Both of them having great seasons so far. DeRozan leading the way, 21.9 points per game. They have a 72.1% chance to win this game on the road. McCollum, he's going to be the leading guy for the Pelicans, 22.2 points per game, but will he be able to score enough to outscore the duo that you have the Sacramento Kings coming in here with? They're averaging 116.4. They're giving up 115.7. New Orleans, they average 110. They're giving up 119.2. They are very questionable on the defensive side. Is that going to be enough to help the Kings here win on the road? They should dominate in the paint. They have the playmakers. We have the Kings coming to New Orleans. They win this game, and we have them covering the spread. This next matchup should be a really good matchup. We have the Heat, 7th in the East right now. They're 25-26 versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, 43-9, number 1 in the West. Some people have them as the best overall team in the NBA. They can definitely light it up. This game's going to be good, though. East coming to West, but Oklahoma City, 87.2% chance to win this game. Heavy favorites here, 13.5. The big issue for the Heat is they're just not the team that they wanted to be this season. They should have had a much better record, but obviously they've had to trade off some pieces. Looking at their scoring, you have Tyler Hero. He's coming in. He's averaging 23.7 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 5.6 assists. And then you have Alexander on the other side lighting things up, 32.6 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 6 assists. They also have Williams games, this team is loaded. They can score in bunches. One of the highest scoring teams in the NBA, 118.2 points per game, only giving up 104.8. They may be the most well-rounded team in the entire league. And then for the Heat, they're averaging 110. They're giving up 110.5. One thing the Heat have going for them, they do have the third overall defense in the Eastern Conference. But will they be able to bring that production all the way to Oklahoma City, all the way to the number one team in the Western Conference? We have the Thunder winning this one, and we have them still covering the spread. Then our next matchup, there's going to be a lot of points in this game. At 8:30 p.m., we have the Phoenix Suns 26-27. They need to win these games. They need to keep alive in the Western Conference. They'll be playing the 33-20 Houston Rockets. Pretty solid team. The biggest weakness for the Rockets is they do have some issues. They are dead last in the Western Conference for assists. They need to figure out some more ways to be able to spread out and distribute the ball, especially versus the Suns team who can light it up. Sometimes they don't, but they are very capable of scoring points in bunches. Right now you have Houston, though, at home, 6.5-point favorites. They have a 62.7% chance to win this game. Obviously, the leading scorer for the Suns, Kevin Durant, 27.1 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists. They're probably not going to have Bradley Beal this game, but they still have Booker. They are still capable of scoring a lot of points and winning a shootout. And on the other side for the Rockets, they have Green, 21.4 points per game. For the Suns, they're averaging 113.2. They're giving up 114.9, very balanced. Houston, they average 112.9. They're giving up 108.7. They do have the edge on defense. They have Alperen, Van Vliet. They don't have a bad team at all, but I'm just going to go with the Phoenix Suns. I think Booker, Durant, they have a big game tonight. They win this game, so I'm going to go with the plus 6.5. And then at 9 p.m., we have the Portland Trailblazers, 23-31 on the road here versus the Denver Broncos, sitting at third in the West with a 35-19 record. They are 11.5-point favorites. You don't have to say much here. They're going to be the heavy favorite. 66.8% chance to win this game. They're going to be led by the Joker, who's putting up an incredible MVP caliber season, 29.8 points per game. From the field, 57.8. He's leading this team. He's averaging a triple-double, 12.5 rebounds per game, 10.3 assists per game. No one is better at the center position than him. And obviously, for Portland, they're going to be led by Simmons, 18.5 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 5 assists. For Portland, they're averaging 109.0 points per game. They're giving up 114.5. Denver, they average 121.3, one of the best, a top 3 offense in the NBA. And they're giving up 115.8. They have the playmakers, but they are going to be pretty banged up here. There is a lot of injury news for this game for the Nuggets. They're going to be without Porter Jr. Jamal Murray is questionable this game, but the Joker should still be able to do enough to carry this team. We have Denver winning this one at home. Even though that's a pretty big spread, I'm going to go with Denver covering the spread as well. And then at 9 p.m. for our late one, we have the Los Angeles Lakers 32-19 here on the road versus the 12-40 Utah Jazz. Right now, the Lakers 8.5-point favorites. The big news for this game, both LeBron James and Luka both listed as questionable for this game. Now, that doesn't mean that they're both not going to play or that one of them's not going to play. The more likely one not to play right now is probably going to be Luka, but still, the Lakers probably have a better starting team than the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are 4-30 versus teams in the Western Conference. That does not bode well no matter who comes on the court for the Lakers. The Lakers on the road, 8.5-point favorites. They're going to be led by LeBron James, 24.4 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 9 assists. As a team, they average 113.2. They're giving up 112.1. Very solid on the defensive side. And for the Jazz, they're averaging 111.9, giving up 119.4. They're going to be led, obviously, by Markkanen. He's averaging 19.2 points per game. But will they be able to do enough to overcome the Lakers? If you have both of those guys start for the Lakers, they're going to blow the Jazz out. We just don't know how much they're going to win by because we don't know what their starting 5 is going to look like. But we have the Lakers winning this one, and we're going to go with them covering the spread. And then on ESPN at 9:30 p.m., we have the 27-26 Golden State Warriors versus the 28-26 Dallas Mavericks. That record's a little flawed there because a lot of that was with Luka. They did trade him for Anthony Davis. And of course, as per usual, Anthony Davis is injured and he's not going to be playing this game. Right now, the Warriors on the road, they're obviously going to score some points here. Steph Curry is averaging 4.1 threes per game. They have a 73.8% chance to win this game. I really do think if the Mavericks had a healthy Anthony Davis, they would probably be the favorite here at home. but they don't have him. Right now, Golden State 6.5-point favorites. They're going to be led by Steph Curry, 23.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 6.1 assists. The Mavericks, though, they still have Kyrie Irving. He's going to do Kyrie Irving things. He will be able to score. He's averaging 24.2, 4.7 rebounds, 4.9 assists. For Golden State, they averaged 112.2. They're giving up 111.9. Pretty solid on the defensive side. And for Dallas, they averaged 115.8. They have the edge there. But like I mentioned, a lot of that was with Luka, and they're giving up 113.6. They don't have Luka. They don't have Davis. Look for Golden State to win on the road and cover. And then our final game at 10:30 p.m., we have the Memphis Grizzlies, the second best team in the Western Conference Finals, 36-17. They'll be playing the LA Clippers, who come in here at 29-23. Very solid team. They are at home. Last 10 games, they're 5-5. Last 10 games for the Grizzlies, they are 7-3. The Grizzlies, they're going to be led by Jackson, 23.2 points per game. But it's the Clippers who are going to be the favorite, especially by the fans, 58.5% chance to win this game. And with Vegas, they are 4.5-point favorites. Jackson right now, 23.2 points per game, and the Clippers are going to be led by Powell, 24 points per game. They also have Harden. They have a pretty solid team. They can score some points here. They have a lot of advantages, especially on the defensive side. That's really where they make themselves known. For Memphis, one of the best offenses in the NBA. They average 123.5. They're giving up 115.5. Clippers average 110.5, but they're only giving up 107.8. They dominate in the paint. They dominate with rebounds, 44.2 points per game. They have a solid team. They have a healthy team, but Memphis has the offense as well. I'm going to go with the upset here. I have Memphis winning this one on the road, so I'm going to go with that +4.5. Guys, that's just our quick NBA picks for all of our February 12th Wednesday matchups. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.